All right, so before the Blue Jackets play their much anticipated game in Calgary, let's look back at the week at was. Wasn't exactly a great week as far as on ice results for the Blue Jackets, so let's get into it. Last Monday against the Rangers, they took a 3-1 loss, and that score doesn't really explain how lopsided this game really was. Both teams starting slow, but eventually the Rangers did wake up in the first period, which was all they really needed to get two shots past Elvis, and the first period ended 2-0 in favor of the Rangers. Second period of that game started with more Rangers domination. Really, any thought of the Blue Jackets building momentum after a sluggish start kind of went out the window after that. Blue Jackets with only 5 total shots on goal by the halfway mark. That's not good. Obviously, if that's anything, it's not good. The Jackets did seem to have some kind of a pulse in the third period, but I mean the Rangers got another goal before then, so at this point you're just kind of playing for, I guess, consolation for your emotions and your pride, I guess. Andrew Peeke did get a goal and a little bit of pressure from the Blue Jackets there to maybe kind of make it close. There was a shot off of the pipes that maybe if that goes in, then maybe that changes the complexion of the game, but never really got too close. I thought Elvis was fine in this one, made some good saves to keep the score as close as it was, but obviously didn't matter as far as the final result. And just a 3-1 loss. Again, that score does not do justice just to how much the Rangers dominated the Blue Jackets in this game. Just another almost inexcusably lackluster performance from the Blue Jackets, especially now that they're getting healthier to the point where you can't really look at their roster and say that, well, their roster is so injured it can't be competitive. That excuse, it was always tired, but now especially with guys like Boone Jenner back on the ice, it's definitely not as much of a thing. Then you have Tuesday on the road against the Predators. They lost 2-1, but this one was a much closer contest. It was Daniil Tarasov getting the start as the goaltender in this one for the Blue Jackets. Sillinger was put back in the lineup. He was healthy scratch for the past couple of games before this. Kent Johnson moved back to wing. First period was scoreless, and Tarasov was pretty solid to start this one. The Jackets showing a bit more competitive edge to this one than they did against the Rangers. Second period was bad on the scoreboard, as it usually is for the Blue Jackets. The second period has been pretty rough for them, and Nashville did get 2 goals, but I actually thought they had a pretty competitive period. Just so happens that Kevin Lankinen was just goaling the Blue Jackets, doing the best impersonation of a wall. Blue Jackets continuing to press in the third, and they would eventually get one past Lankinen that he was unable to stop from Nyquist. Just kind of a bunch of rebounds, and eventually Nyquist got one pass that Kevin Lankinen physically could not get to, which is all that the Jackets could do in order to get goals in this one, was to just kind of get chances that Kevin Lankinen couldn't physically get to, and they only got that one in the goal. They couldn't get the equalizer, and also it's kind of some weird line deployment. Kent Johnson and Emil Bemstrom didn't really see the ice after the first goal at all, which was weird because they were on the ice for that goal. Bemstrom got an assist on it. Don't know why your younger, maybe a little more offensively talented players aren't seeing the ice when you're trying to get a goal and maybe at least try to force some overtime, get some stuff going there. Don't know why they weren't playing, but again, I'm not in the coaching booth. I'm not making the lineup decisions. I just kind of have to react to those. Then Thursday at home against the Ducks, they lost 5-3. At first, they seemed to actually build a lot of momentum off of that Predators game, scoring 3 goals in the first period for the first time this season. Matthew Olivier getting things going off of a shockingly good shot from Matthew Olivier. Usually not. He's more of a hitty, punchy guy, as he did have a fight and won that one pretty convincingly too, but he did have a nice goal to start. And then Jack Roslovic scoring his first goal of the year in 2023, and Nick Blankenburg getting the third goal after sending a Ducks player into the bench with a very entertaining shift from Nick Blankenburg there. So you go into the first intermission up 3-0. Blue Jackets, at least I was feeling pretty good about it. And then the second period happened, and it's just one of those things where the second period has been the Achilles heel of this Blue Jackets team all year. Anaheim did respond by putting Gibson in the net, and the Ducks seemed to pick up their play, and the Blue Jackets very much did not pick up their play to respond to it. Ducks score 22 seconds into the second period, setting the tone for what was to come. The Blue Jackets defense didn't really do anything productive to stop Anaheim. It was a pretty dominant period from Anaheim, and they end up tying the game as the second period woes continue for this Blue Jacket team. I don't really blame Elvis too much for most of the second period goals. There were prime chances, and there was one that was a slap shot from the point that he was screened on. Maybe you want him to bail the defense out, or maybe get one of that one he was screened on. Maybe want him to find the puck a little quicker. But again, there was just a lot of bad defense, and Anaheim getting a lot of good prime chances that a lot of NHL teams are going to cash in on. And then the third period you kind of felt inevitable that even though it was tied heading into the third, Anaheim had all the momentum, and the Blue Jackets didn't look like they were going to respond in any kind of way. That first third period goal from the Ducks is probably one that Elvis wants back. Kind of got deflected off of something, and it went off of Elvis's glove and into the net. Blue Jackets didn't have much of a response in the third anyway, and the Blue Jackets did get booed as the game ended. And to be quite honest, yeah, they deserve to get booed, going up 3-0 and then giving up 5 straight to a team that is right beside you in the league standings for being one of the worst in the league. Then you go to Saturday against the Sharks, another pretty bad team from California, and the Blue Jackets flipping the script, getting a win 5-3 in that game. Korpisalo was back in net, and Tarasov was sent back down to Cleveland. Both of these teams started the game pretty bad, and the Sharks did get a goal in the first, and it looked like it was going to continue to get worse for the Blue Jackets in the second period after going down 2-0. But then something crazy happened. They kind of flipped their fortunes, and they started to play well in the second period. I know. And if things weren't already crazy enough, they scored a power play goal as well. This was just opposite day for the Blue Jackets in a good way that we haven't seen in a while, as Johnny Gaudreau got his first power play goal in a Blue Jackets uniform. That's kind of crazy to think about. And then Boone Jenner scoring off the rush to tie it less than 2 minutes later. So that's how the score would be tied to 2-2 heading into the third period. A really nice response for the Blue Jackets, especially with what's happened after the Anaheim game. It definitely would have been a moment for this team to kind of lay down and die and let the Sharks come in a nationwide and win, but they did kind of pick up their spirits, and it kind of escalated from there. San Jose pretty much took the lead right back at the beginning of the third as the Sharks' chance caused a scramble that led to a goal, but the Jackets didn't turn over and die. They quickly respond with a Patrick Laine goal, so that was nice to see him, both Gaudreau and I almost said Johnny Laine. That would have been, that would be a nice connection, but it was Patrick Laine who scored the goal. Then some back and forth until Gus Nyquist put the Blue Jackets in the lead for the first time in this game with less than 8 minutes to go, and Corrali with the long empty net goal to seal it. So that was a nice win on a homestand before they go on this Western and mostly Canadian road trip. You have the Kraken game thrown in there to kind of break up the All-Canada thing. As far as they go in the standings, they're currently last in the NHL, so which means they're also last in the East and the Metro and all that. They are 1 point behind the Anaheim Ducks with 1 game in hand, so it's really a race to the bottom for this Blue Jackets team, with teams like Anaheim and Chicago and the Sharks. The Blue Jackets did see both of those teams, and the fact that they went 500 against those two awful teams is kind of indicative of where they are, where the teams that are bad, when they play each other, it's just a matter of who can out-bad the other, and sometimes the Blue Jackets will out-bad Anaheim, sometimes the Sharks will out-bad the Blue Jackets. It's just kind of going to kind of be a bit of a who's who as far as, who can successfully tank for Bedard the best, although I don't really think the Jackets went into the season trying to tank. It just so happens that they haven't seemed to be coached very well. They've been hurt, and the players are also underperforming. So that's a concoction for a really bad season. So if you like having the best lottery odds, this was a pretty good week, and this has been a pretty good season. If you like watching really good hockey, then this has not been a good week or a good season at all. Although, again, that Nashville game was competitive, and they got a win over the Sharks, so there's that. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. I will see you at the next one.